And welcome back to Sitting Courtside, episode 46. Of course, it's your boy Jerry D here.
And just like the first 45 episodes, it's your boy Dante.
Yes, sir. We are here to talk, obviously, more summer off-season basketball. There's a lot of different things going on. We were going to get into Olympics a little bit, but kind of want to wait on that a little bit before, the actual big dance starts.
Still
Currently,
got
right now.
exhibition games going on. So,
Yeah, exactly. Right now, Serbia is actually playing the United States. And last time I checked, Serbia was getting the doors blown off. So awesome. Great job, guys. And all for the country. But we're going to get into a little bit of Bronny here. We got some other offseason moves potentially going on. So honestly, let's just hop right into this thing. So
let's jump into it. Let's do it.
Topic number one here is it is Bronny James, unfortunately, but nothing for really anything too great. Yes, he has been stanking up the joint.
Stanking up Las Vegas, Jerry. Stanking up the court.
Really the Summer League in general when they're on the California Classic and Utah and all those other things. But he's averaging 4.3 points on 22.6% shooting. And guess what? He hasn't hit a single three-pointer yet.
But he did win a Call of Duty tournament and got a nice belt and $10,000 that he definitely doesn't need. But, has that under his belt and actually has a belt as well.
That's great.
I've been watching. I've been tuning in to a good amount of Summer League games. I've been watching. Bronny James Celtics. I watched the number 1 and 2 picks go head to head the other night. I'm kind of watching it as much as I can. And the thing with Bronny is, I know these numbers aren't good, but are we really surprised? We weren't expecting him to come out and just put up crazy numbers, win a Summer League MVP and do all these things, right? We knew. Coming out of college, I was one of those people that thought Bronny James went into the draft because he was going to get drafted. We all knew he was going to get drafted by the Lakers at some point, or some team was going to take a chance, whatever. He's a guy that could have benefited from staying in college a few more years. He's still very raw, a raw prospect. Obviously had health issues when the college season started. And not for nothing, he's not known for being a sharpshooter. He's not, a three-point game isn't his biggest strength in the world. So, 0% from three is rough. You'd like to see him hit a few, but it's not something that, you don't expect him to be shooting 40, 50% from beyond the arc. It is surprising to see him kind of performing as, I'm not surprised that he's not at his, he's not putting up insane numbers, but it is 4 points a game, 22% from the field. That is kind of, you expect more, but I think this is just a sign. I think this is just telling us that he has some work to do. Going into training camp, finishing out the Summer League too, of course. Where is he going to spend most of his time next season? Is this a sign that he's probably going to be spending some time in the G League? I would probably think so.
Absolutely.
He'll get main roster time, I'm sure. But I think this is just telling us that he still has ways to go. And he did have one good defensive game. I think it was the second game of the Summer League where he was really showing out on the defensive side of things, which is his strength, which is what he's most known for. So he's showing flashes at defensive side of things, his athleticism, all that, but he has some work to do.
Yeah, I think you hit everything on the head. I just need to ask a very, very broad question to you.
Mm-hmm.
How would you really expect a second-round pick that was picked towards the end of the second round, number 55 to be exact, to play? It's
great. Yeah, and it's not like he was a first-round selection or anything like that. You shouldn't be expecting the world from someone that was drafted. Just say second round, 55th overall pick. Don't even mention the name. You don't expect that person to be putting up crazy numbers. But unfortunately for Bronny, and I'm not even saying it's his fault, they had his face on all the Summer League promos, the posters. It was Alex Sarr and him. And everyone he was the most hyped up player going into Summer League.
And we understand. Yeah, no, exactly. We understand the marketability of who he is because of who his father is. And I get that the expectations, even with him being a second-round pick, that picked so late into the draft, that we still expect him to show us some type of, formings of the makings of a superstar caliber player. which I just think is unfair because, again, he wasn't a first round pick. He wasn't a top 10 pick. He wasn't anything that had anything to do with on day one of the NBA draft since they
Right.
split it into 2 days this time around.
Smart
So,
move, by the way. I'm happy that they
yeah,
started doing that.
they took a page at the NFL's book. I do
Yeah.
appreciate that. But
Yeah.
overall, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. I see, other people like Brandon Jennings saying that I don't know why we're talking about him so much. Oh, I hate him. Like he's not that great. Blah blah blah. But I don't know what people really expected. And you hit it on the head again with what he did at USC. Very, very limited sample size before the
Yep.
cardiac arrest situation. Thank God he came back healthy. Thank God he's playing basketball again.
Absolutely.
But he's not quite in a rhythm, especially when he hasn't played competitive basketball since his first couple games at USC.
Hmm.
So I think me personally, I know it takes a while to see some NBA players and even just regular street guys that you see at the Y. It takes them a while to get their rhythm back. I'm not calling him
Yeah.
a regular street guy, but I'm gonna give him some time to actually get back in shape, get his legs up under him, kind of see what the best version of himself would be on game number one. And again, I don't think he's gonna be playing big time minutes. It's not like
No,
he's gonna be a penciled
absolutely
in
not.
starter for the Lakers, right? It's just gonna all right.
Not even a sixth man.
No, no, he's not even
No.
gonna be in the rotation.
No.
That's gonna be your
He's got
garbage time player that, hey, you know what? We're up by 20 or we're down by 20 with 3 minutes left in the game. Go out there, improve.
see what you can do.
Yeah, like exactly. I'm really not shocked at all. Even what Jalen Brown said the other day at the game where he doesn't think Bronny's a pro right now. I don't
Yeah.
think that's disrespectful.
Yeah, the tweets and everything I was
It's
seeing from
hilarious.
that was hilarious. Telling when the baddies are agreeing with Jalen Brown that you're not doing well, you're cooked or something like that. Yeah,
Everybody's really
but
calling it pillow talk because Jalen Brown he's having a great summer, man. He's
he's having a good summer. The only thing that hasn't gone his way is
Team
the Team
USA.
USA stuff. But he's with his girl. He's enjoying the summer, so I'm sure he's okay with that. But yeah, I mean, I don't think he was really out of pocket
No.
for saying that. I think he was just being honest, and I think people kind of took that, ran with it, twisted up the words, trying to make it seem like he meant something else. When it's like he was just being honest. He's saying what most people are thinking,
Yeah.
right? And also, it was a private conversation, so like
Yeah.
kind of shitty that like. I mean, I get it. Like, it's media, and they're gonna run away with whatever they can pick up. But like, it's not like he like was being interviewed. He said that and was trying to be disrespectful. He was just having a private conversation.
Yeah, plus like Rich Paul, I seen him go on the Pat McAfee show and also say like, you know what? Jalen Brown even sent out a tweet later on saying, "Hey,
He
I
did.
think Brownie's going to be a good pro." Blah blah blah. But
someone said that he put that out because he came home and had clutch and
yeah,
blood
the
written on
Escalade
his door.
game.
So
But nah, yeah, like in general, Rich Paul did say something really good though, where it's just, hey, this is a lot better than hearing NBA analyst. I put extra heavy quotes on that with no expertise.
well, yeah, that's the thing. Jalen Brown's a professional player. I think he knows what
Exactly.
he knows what he's talking about.
He's been in the league for 6 to 7 years. He's played with arguably a top five player in the league in Jason Tatum for the last few
Mhm.
years. I think he knows a thing or six or 100 about, some good basketball
And
players.
and he
So
has a good reputation. He doesn't have a reputation of like trashing on people, trash talking. Like he's just
even Rich Paul said, I know it wasn't taken in malice. Like, I know Jalen, he's a good guy. So
yeah.
this is literally just a guy doing his due diligence as a player, giving back to the youth. I don't think he's ready yet. And guess what?
No,
half of
no.
the world doesn't think he's ready yet. But
More than half of the world should think of it, to be
yes,
honest with you. But
but
yeah, no, I
from
agree.
our standpoint, from most educated people's standpoint that actually know ball, what the hell they're talking about, it's going to take time. It's a process.
It takes time for some top picks too.
Yeah,
Everyone goes at a different pace. It depends on the situation you're in,
yeah,
where you're taken. Like it's different for everyone. But I don't think if you really thought Bronny was going to come out the gates and be a star, you were just delusional. Like that's just not a realistic thought to have. So listen, I think we have on this year we have. Did he come out too early? Going back to what I said earlier, dude, I think he's a guy that would have benefited from staying in college for 2-3 years. You know what I mean? I think that he's someone that could have gotten more experience, could have gotten not removed himself, but kind of you're getting further away from his, his health scare and stuff like that, and kind of getting back into the flow of things. And then, like, in 2-3 years from now, I think he can still be a good player. But like, if you have that added college experience, who knows what it could have led to.
Yeah.
That's just the camp I'm in. Like, I don't think he would have went into the draft this year if he didn't have all this hype around him and and didn't have the guarantee of getting drafted by the Lakers, because it was always a guarantee. Let's just be honest, it was.
Yeah, no, of course.
So that's just my opinion. I mean, like, hey, I'm happy that he went to the draft. You got drafted. That's great. That's every kid's dream. Every kid growing up playing basketball wants to get drafted one day, and he did, and he deserved that. It's a great accomplishment. But did he go a little too early? I'm in the camp of yes. I think he did.
We're standing shoulder to shoulder in the same camp, man. I think it was clear to me that, especially after the cardiac arrest thing, it's gonna take time. Like, again, I just go
Even
back.
after that, I was like, I thought that should have been like the indicator that
Exactly.
he wasn't going to go to the draft after the first year.
That's why when I seen that he was going to throw his name into the draft, I was shocked. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I think regardless of what Bronny said of not wanting to play with his father, or that not factoring into his decision to declare for the draft, it did. Because why else?
He said he didn't even think about it. He said he didn't even have a thought about playing with his dad.
There's no way. There's no way. Because why else would you come out?
Don't be a liar like your dad. Don't
please.
have people pull up those memes of LeBron on that documentary talk about, like, I just was telling my friends I thought Kobe was going for 80 this game, and I just had a feeling.
Hey, right now it must be in the genetics, man. I don't know.
It has to be the liar junior.
But we both wish Bronny nothing but the best.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, we want him to succeed. We want him to do well.
If he could be even half the player his father was, you had a great career, because the average player doesn't have that.
Listen, it's big, not massive, at sizes of like astronomical size shoes.
It's not even shoes; they're boots.
It's not. No, we're talking about like a galaxy.
Yes,
we're not even talking about things you put on your feet. It's not. He's not going to be anywhere near his father, but I think he is in a good situation. I think he's in a good spot where he can. LeBron James is his dad. He's his teammate now. He can learn a thing or two from him, being with him all the time. And you coach JJ Redick. I'm sure he'll put him in the right situations to succeed, do well, and other teammates as well. So wish him nothing but the best. We're just giving our honest opinion, and it's okay to be critical. It's okay to give constructive criticism. That's all that this is.
Yeah. And before we move on to the next thing here, the Lakers did hire a new assistant coach, which was a G League Coach of the Year.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but I forgot the young woman's name. I know she went to Duke, but we can find it later. But I know that she is going to be a part of that staff, and she's going to be a part of the developmental process for Bronny, for Dalton Connect, and the rest of the young guys. So they're making moves to try to accommodate the new young talent that they're getting. So
Lindsey Harding, shout out to her.
There we go.
There we go. Do you know when you discover a binge-worthy show or a song that you are bumping on repeat and you want to share it with your friends so they can experience just how awesome it is? That's kind of what it feels like when you discover that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. It's such an awesome deal, there's no way you can keep it to yourself. Whether it's 5 gigabytes, 15 gigabytes, 20 gigabytes, or unlimited, Mint Mobile for $15 a month is a steal. Mint Mobile is the best plan for you, best plan for me. I keep in touch with my family and friends, family that I have close, family that I have far, living down south in Texas. I'm able to communicate with them. I'm able to get in touch with them, call, text very easily. And again, for $15 a month, how could I not? I have to take advantage of that. You, listening right now, are our friends. And friends don't let friends overpay for wireless. So say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plan and make the switch to Mint Mobile. High-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network for only $15 a month. Not 50, 15. Teen as in just about the age that LeBron and Kobe entered the league. Best part is, you don't have to start from scratch after switching. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with your existing contacts. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/courtside. That's mintmobile.com/courtside. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/courtside. $45 upfront payment is required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on the unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Now back to the episode.
On to the other team or the other drama in LA, where they did lose Paul George, as we know, to the Philadelphia 76ers, but they're thinking about still being in the mix to add Zach LaVine, who was also, guess what, a California native. Did some time at UCLA, grew up there all his life, and now the Chicago Bulls are trying to clean house, right? So
They have been trying, Jerry, to trade this guy for years, it seems like. And they can't. They can't do it. There's no trade market for him. What even could they get in return for him? How interested are the Clippers? Like at this point, it's like I hear all these things. The Kings apparently at one point were, really interested in stuff, and that got nowhere. Now you have the Clippers, and
they
it's
got
like
more.
they got his teammate. They got DeMar instead. They figured, why get LaVine when we can get the better Bull? Zach LaVine's a good player. I don't think he's a terrible player. I think he's a guy that can give you 20 a night. I think he is, he's had his fair share of injuries, but one of the most athletic players in the league. But it's like, what is his trade value right now? What would the Clippers have to give up to get him? If I'm the Clippers, I'm giving up no more than like half a box of Pringles, because it's like, no, I mean, like, because like you have the leverage in this situation.
Man.
The Bulls are desperate to get rid of him. You don't have to give up too much to get him because no one else wants him. So it's like they don't have to empty the tank. They don't have to empty out the assets, the bench, player, whatever it would cost to get him. I think he would. The Clippers are in a weird spot right now, Jerry. They're in a very weird spot. Like Kawhi's still there; he's your star and everything. But can you count on him? Over the last few years, I'd probably say no. His track record, I'd say no. So it's like you're trying to get a guy like LaVine to stay competitive, but LaVine isn't good enough for that to be like, oh, we're back to where we were before. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, I understand. Like, I feel like everybody's kind of out on Zach LaVine as a player. I think we all know that he's a elite offensive talent when he's healthy. He was a 2-time All-Star for back-to-back years, averaged 25-plus points. That's when we thought Chicago could have had a future if Lonzo Ball would have stayed healthy.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I totally understand why you feel that way about Zach LaVine, especially the fit with the Clippers, where you're going to take a step back, because I think everybody would agree that Paul George is higher on the scale of how good compared to Zach LaVine, right? He's definitely beneath Paul George as a player. No disrespect to him, of course, but I, for one, think this would be a solid move for the Clippers. Now, do I think it's going to be something that puts them over the top, or does it move the needle for them? No. But I think it'll keep them more competitive than what they are right now currently, than what they have constructed. Now, James Harden's back there. Kawhi's back there. They signed Nick Batum back. They got Derrick Jones Jr. Zubac is still there. I mean,
Kevin Porter back from Greece.
KPJ back from Greece after making $10,000 a game. So, I mean, it's great that they're trying to assemble pieces, and I think LaVine is still young enough to where it could be kind of like the cornerstone or a piece of the franchise moving forward. Right. I just think if you sell high or try, it's a high risk, high reward. Because if you try to sell high, and if he's healthy enough, because he only played in 25 games.
That's the thing, if health considering too, 100%.
That's really my main issue. But in terms of from a basketball talent, he could definitely help this team from day one. It's definitely, you're plugging in another 25-plus point scorer on any given night. Yeah. So I'm not angry at it. I think this does make sense. But again, this team's been hurt for the last 4 years, and you're going to add in another injury-prone star at this point.
Right.
I don't know about
that. I mean, listen, I think if they want to make the trade, they got the guys to do it. Norman Powell makes the same amount of money as Zach LaVine. So, listen, the Bulls aren't trying to get too much in return. Well, actually, how much is Zach LaVine? Oh, no, never mind. Zach LaVine is making over $40 million a year. Yeah, I was reading a different thing. Yeah, no, never mind. I mean, I think they have a handful of guys like Norman Powell's making 19. You can have some Russell Westbrook. I know they're trying to like figure out what they're going to do with him. PJ Tucker is a guy, another guy that they're trying to figure out. You put in these contracts, I'm sure they can put together a handful of players, maybe a second round pick or something like that, or maybe the Bulls give them a pick in return, considering that their organization isn't run by the smartest people in the world. So I think that they'd give up more than they'd be taking back. But no, from a talent standpoint, I agree because Zach LaVine would be the third guy on this team. It would be Kawhi, Harden, Zach LaVine, and I think would be a better third option than anything else that they have right now. If he stays healthy, it's a high risk, high reward. He stays healthy, he can give you 20 a night or close to 20 a night on this team. I think he could do well, but it's like I feel like there's more fear in getting him than there is like, optimism. Like I'd be leaning on the side of like, oh, I don't know if this is gonna go well. Then, oh no, this is gonna work out.
Honestly, I don't. Again, I do like his talent. I think he could help out the team. But if I was to be asked, do we want to trade for Zach LaVine if I was Clippers brass? I would say no. Mainly because of what we've seen from these NBA teams the last few years, where they try to trade for these superstar caliber players instead of keeping good depth role players on their squad. Like Norman Powell has been great for the Clippers since
Yeah, he's a good player. Right.
That is literally a microwave off the bench for when their offense draws stale. Like they need that caliber of player. Zach LaVine, awesome player. We already said that. I know what he could do, but a punch off my bench or I could plug in a starter and I got to give up other role players again for a star caliber player when we just gave some up for James Harden in the first place? No.
Because right now too, it's like you're building a team. You lost Paul George, but you're putting together a collective group of role players and guys that could play their role well. So you're building something there. Also, if you trade for Zach LaVine, you have him on the books for this year, next year, and then there's a player option, which I mean, in his year 31 season, making $49 million. Is he going to get another big payday? I don't know. I don't know what he's going to look like in 3 years. So it's like you're going to be on the books for a few years with this guy that you're going to have to, it's a sacrifice. And I'm looking at his numbers right now. I mean, just in 2021, he averaged 27 points a game. Last year, he averaged less than 20. Obviously, he only played 25 games. But the year before, he averaged 25. He had 5 straight years of putting up 23 plus points, almost 24 plus points.
It's a talented dude, man. He can play.
He's a great offensive player. But it's just, again, the injuries add up. The reputation becomes a little sour.
I mean, but
his value goes down.
It's not like they don't know how to deal with an injury-prone star already. Since
the Clippers know everything about it. Clippers know everything about injury-prone stars.
And at this way, for the Clippers, like we call it high risk, high reward because he is only 28. Where nowadays,
he should be in his prime now.
Primes normally don't end. You're probably not going to see players really taper off of that magnitude until they're 35. So that gives you another 6 to 7 years of where, hey, we're moving into a new building. This guy could potentially be the face. Now, is that the sexiest guy for the team? The sexiest face for the team? No, of course not. But if you're thinking championship, I got to go all in. I need it now. I think you stay put, you stay pat. But if you really want to go get another bigger name since you just lost one in Paul George, be my guest. You know I don't give a shit what the Clippers do anyway the rest of the time that they're going to exist in LA. They need to move that franchise.
And what it is, Jerry, what it comes down to is they can make all these moves, and that's great. It comes down to Kawhi Leonard's availability. If Kawhi Leonard isn't there, it doesn't matter if they have Norman Powell, Russell Westbrook, and PJ Tucker, or Zach LaVine next to it. Doesn't matter. They're not going to go anywhere without Kawhi. So
every single year, we literally put the same asterisk on them. Clippers are a championship team if Kawhi's healthy.
But
Kawhi
needs to be healthy. Yeah, for sure.
I'm tired of playing this game. As a matter of fact, I'm tired of talking about him.
hey, if you're done with them, so am I. I don't think I got any more to say about Zach LaVine. Anyways, awesome. I think that was the most I've talked about Zach LaVine in years.
Great. Well, let's talk about a former Clipper here who is unfortunately on his way out of the league. Patrick Beverley is going to play, I don't want to butcher this, but I probably am. Hapoel Tel Aviv. And an Israeli basketball club.
They gave him everything he asked for.
Apparently, it's only a little
It's
over
only
2 million.
$2 million.
I don't.
Like the league minimum. It's got to be like
I thought it was 3 to 4.
around right. I thought he could have made. He got offered. What was it? It was the what were the teams he
The
got offers
Rockets,
from?
the
The
Rockets,
Rockets
and I
and
forget the other one.
one other team.
Yeah.
Listen, man, do what you got to do. He also just signed a new contract with Barstool to keep the podcast going. So I'm interested
Woo!
to see how. Yeah, big news, breaking news, everyone. So I'm curious. Like, I'm sure they're just gonna have to do that like over Zoom or however the fuck they do that. But yeah, dude. I mean, how old is Pat Bev? I mean, he's got to be in his mid
36.
30s, right?
I would say so.
36. He is Pat Beverly. My computer's loading. 36 years old. Just turned 36. Just turned 36 5 days ago. Happy late birthday, Pat Bev. Yeah, dude. I mean, listen, the guy doesn't have the greatest reputation in the world in the NBA. I get he's like a guy that he doesn't have a great reputation, but he also has a reputation of being like he's a guy that you want on your team, hard nosed player. He's a dog, this and that, blah 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 blah. I don't know. I've never been like the biggest fan of Pat Beverly. I can respect his hustle, his attitude, and stuff like that, but I don't really find it surprising that he's out of the league, especially with like, you know, things that he's done and like shit that's happened over the last few years and stuff too. I just don't know if I don't know. I mean, I think he's just doing what he feels is best for him, and that's great. I mean, he had offers to keep going in the NBA, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much of an impact he would have made on those teams, anyways.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm kind of gonna miss Pat Bev. I think
He's
what
a
he did,
character. He's a
yeah,
character for sure.
what he did for the Bucks last year, I think is kind of underrated. There was times he came in and really changed the tempo of a game. I think he was a capable role player. I'm not gonna sit here and act like he's gonna be a championship piece or a championship addition, but
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of unfortunate to see another, established NBA veteran in his role. You know what you're getting. Mr. 94 feet can guard your best
Yeah,
perimeter player possibly. Like, I really like what Pat Bev brought to the game. So it's a little, for me, it's a little sad to see him out. I mean, I think, I have here in the little rundown of ours, I think that incident with the Pacers on his way out, his last game potentially in the NBA,
right.
where throwing the ball at those fans didn't result too well. And then you go to the locker room and you disrespect a well-respected ESPN employee,
Yes, yes,
which
yes.
doesn't say, everything's connected. ESPN's connected to the NBA, TNT, all of that stuff. So you kind
Yeah,
of
I
rub somebody the wrong way in one area, you'll get
rubbed the
done
wrong
dirty.
people the wrong way.
Yeah. Like, so
Yeah,
I guess we kind of should have saw it coming, but it's still kind of crazy that more teams weren't interested, like another championship contender at least wasn't interested to have him coming off the bench or providing a spark, I
the
guess.
Rockets. A team like the Rockets kind of makes sense because they're kind of younger. You kind of get that
Yeah, I would have
veteran.
enjoyed it. I would have enjoyed it. I would have liked Pat Bev to just have a job because I'm tired of seeing certain guys that still have some left to give to the game get
Mhm.
out of the league. So like John Wall still doesn't have a job in the NBA yet.
He's
Danny
trying.
Green, yeah,
He's
Danny
working.
Green's another guy that's available and I think he could still play, but doesn't have a job right now. DeMarcus
Yeah,
Cousins, doesn't have a job in the NBA right now. Just I know it's by positional need, but if we
yeah,
can keep these guys in the league for as long as possible, man, it helps me kind of go along watching it because it's like, you know what? I'm glad I got to see such and such play, even if it's just a regular run of the day, run of the mill role player like Pat Bev.
right.
Still kind of cool to just see a guy play X amount of years, make his money, get out the game. But hey,
Yeah, he has a good story too. You know, from where he began to kind of making his name in the league and everything like that.
did his
I'm
thing.
looking. I'm looking at some things now. It's the highest salary for a non Euro team, I believe. The $2 million. I want to make sure I'm getting that. Yeah, 2 million contract is one of the highest ever from a non Euro League team. Two other guy, Carlos Delfino, actually,
Hey,
and some other guy. Yeah, what a name that'll
different
never
name.
be mentioned on this podcast again. Made $3 million, and the veteran minimum this year for a player that has been in the league for 10 plus years is 3.3 million, which is over $1 million more than what he's getting. So I don't. he must have not been a fan of the Rockets and what other team was looking to get him. He must have really not wanted to play for them or
I'm,
something. But
I'm really thinking that maybe,
fresh start, gets his numbers up and then comes
maybe
back after a year, half a year. That's
potentially.
happened before.
I'm really thinking more so from the standpoint that maybe the Israeli basketball club might have given him more of a guarantee for the years
Sure.
aspect of things, to where a
Yeah.
veteran
Maybe he
minimum is
can
only
make
going to be good.
bonuses or something like that.
You
Right.
know, team gets to the playoffs, wins championship, blah blah blah.
They
That's
pay
probably
for his housing, this, that, whatever. There's little things in there that, we might
I'd
not know
imagine it's
about.
that, along with the years, kind of. Oh, I'm making $2 million every year for the next 4 years, compared to making a
Right.
veteran minimum in the NBA. You're only gonna make that for 1 year, and there's no guarantee you play your way into another deal.
Taxes, maybe it's like he gets to keep the 2 million. I don't know how that works overseas, but like
I
maybe
can
he
tell you
gets all that money, he keeps it, and like if you went to a Houston, you got to give up a certain amount. So
that's tax free in
yeah,
Texas.
well, that's my theory that he just hates the Rockets and doesn't want
Okay,
to play for them.
even though he
But
had
yeah,
a solid tenure there, yeah, maybe.
did play there. So yeah, maybe he's just not an Ime Udoka fan. Yeah, dude, I don't know. Good for him. If he puts up numbers, I'm sure he'll find. One day he'll find his way back into the NBA.
I think
But
it's
yeah,
over. It's
you
over.
think so?
I think so.
I mean, 36 is old.
Yeah.
It's like you're already towards the tail end of your career. Now you're leaving the NBA. It's going to be hard to get back into it. Not saying you can't do it, but it will be hard.
You're gonna have to go over there and drop 20 a game
At
to be
least,
on
I think
somebody's
honestly that
radar.
should be the expectation.
Yes, low
I
key.
feel like if anything less than that, I mean, I don't know who else is on that team,
I don't know,
but I can't
but
imagine there's any other big name player like Pat Bev, where
and you know what?
he's gonna want to take all the shots. He's gonna want to do this and that.
This is why it's important to be able to back up, what you say, because now the things like the next 5 years are mine to Steph Curry
Oh,
has aged
brutal,
like goat milk.
brutal. Yeah,
So
yeah, chunky goat milk.
yes,
Yeah, not good.
it's cheating.
You got to hope that he does well
I,
in overseas now, because if he stinks up the joint,
it's over.
that's more fuel for NBA Twitter. So
Yes, but our last to kind of get off of Pat Bet. Wow, like you can tell it's the summer, slow
we're talking
off
about
season
Pat Bev. We have a whole segment of Pat
for
Bev.
Pat
Yeah,
Bev, man. We'll get into summer league play and Olympic play next week, I promise.
yeah,
But
yeah.
for our
Closer we
last
get to the
topic,
championship too, because
yeah,
we'll be closer then.
yeah. But for our last topic here, another offseason possible move that probably isn't going to happen anymore. Brandon Podziminski is apparently an untouchable in a Laurie marketing deal. So, just overall, what are your thoughts to that? Because my main question, I think, for you when I look at this is, how serious are they about extending Steph and Draymond's championship window?
Not serious if you're not willing to give up some young guys for a guy like Laurie, who's 27, probably puts his great player,
That's an
puts
all
up
star.
great numbers. He's an all-star player. Put him next to Steph Curry. You got a big that could shoot like Laurie. That's a great piece to have next to Steph. I get it. You want to keep Podziminski. I think he's a good player. I think he has the tools to be a really, really good like starter, and just like not a guy that's going to pop off and give you a crazy amount of points, but he makes the right plays. He does all the right things. I'm watching him in summer league, and like he plays very well. He just knows how to play the game. I get why they want to keep someone like that,
He's a dog.
but he's a dog. But like at the same time, you can't just get a guy like Laurie Markkinen for free. I know that I've seen the Jazz have been asking for picks, swaps, second round picks, this and that, which I get it. Laurie Markkinen's the face of your franchise. And if you're going to get rid of Laurie, you're accepting a rebuild, and you want as much as in return for him, as they should. I don't think that's not out of line for them to be asking for what they're asking for. The Warriors got to meet in the middle. If they want Laurie, they got to give him something. And I like Pods. I think he played well next to Steph last season, and he's just getting started. Like I said, I think he's going to get better and better. But which duo? Like I'm not. If I'm a Warriors fan, which duo do I want? Steph and Pods or Steph and Laurie? I don't got to give you my answer because I think you know what it is. So listen, if they want a perennial All-Star player, they got to give up what it takes to get him. That's all it is.
I'm right there with you. Of course, like I wish I could disagree with you more today, but it's just so
We're
slowly.
on the same wavelength here, Jerry.
It's,
There's something in the air.
I mean, it's a no brainer to me that if they're asking for pods and picks, I would do it.
That's okay.
If
That's
I'm really
okay to give
serious
up.
about trying to, Steph Curry's 35.
You
This
don't have
guy,
much time.
his game is gonna age gracefully because it's not based off of athleticism or nothing like that. But we need to help him. We talked
Mm-hmm.
about whenever they won in 2022. I remember having a discussion with you where, hey, some of these young players and Wiggins and Poole and Moody, possibly Wiseman at that time, we were still kind of pondering what he could be. It was like, hey, maybe the future's going to be okay, but they just paid all these guys, and I hope they live up to the bill the next few years. Guess what? They didn't.
They didn't.
They did not.
They
Moody
did
Poole
not.
got shipped out. James Wiseman's NBA future is in question, and Moses
Andrew
Moody
Wiggins is
is
barely playable at this point. Clay
exactly.
Thompson's gone. You didn't want to pay him, and he's gone.
So, like, I don't
Yeah.
even really know what to think of management at this point in time if Pods is an untouchable. Now, Kuminga, to some degree, I could understand because there
So
is potential.
I was
Okay.
going to ask you if you would rather give up Kuminga or Potts, because Kuminga's kind of like same position, more
I'm giving
so.
Pods up. I'm
Yeah.
giving Pods because I think Kuminga could actually be a solid two-way player. There was a spurt of
Hmm.
games where he was averaging a little over 20 points a game
Yeah,
with 8
for sure.
rebounds and 2 assists or whatever it was. I
And he
like,
can play the three. He can
yes,
play the three for
the
them.
3, the
Yeah.
4, and the 5 in today's NBA.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
know he's going to be a better defender than what Laurie's ever probably going to be.
Right. I
So
agree.
I would bank on Kuminga's potential instead of trading him. But if they're asking for Pods, no
Yeah.
disrespect. I think Pods is great, but for what I need right now, like for what if I'm Steph Curry, if I'm Draymond Green, we need another shot creator, another guy that can go get their own bucket out the post and from 3 on the perimeter. Laurie can do all those things. So why not? Plus, before I hand it back over to you here, I think it's important to note that Danny Ainge is known for finessing people all the time,
Yes, he is.
which is why, your Boston Celtics got the hang banner number 18 because he finessed Brooklyn to give up an old KG, an old Paul Pierce, to get picks that eventually became, the Jays. But also, as soon as he gets to Utah, he trades away Donovan Mitchell for 3 first-round picks. He trades
Rudy
away Rudy
Gobert.
Gobert for 4 first-round picks. So just
He
imagine that.
knows what he's doing. I don't know what the guy he has some sort of when he's talking to these GMs, he has this way
Man,
of
this shit
getting
is
into their
voodoo. He's
yeah,
doing
no, it really
something
is.
dangerously demonic.
He knows some so he has blackmail on every single GM in the league. He's got it. Well, all right, so let's say they give up pods and picks for marketing. You're looking at a starting lineup of Steph Curry, probably Buddy Hield, Kuminga, Markkanen, and Draymond. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. I think you have some defensive liabilities at the 1 and 2. I think that's your biggest
Absolutely.
weakness right there. I think defense is questionable there. But then you got guys like Andrew Wiggins, you still got there. I mean, if you can get rid of him, I mean, fucking throw him into that package with Utah just to kind of get rid of his contract. I mean, you got to get rid of that money. Kyle Anderson, Moses Moody, Kevon Looney, Gary Payton, Dario Saric, they signed. D'Anthony Melton, they just got. They have a bench. They have a bench. I just think my biggest concern there would be the defense, and I think that they're 1 and 2. Like you don't have. I mean, Kuminga, I guess you can have there to kind of help them out, but I think that would be the biggest glaring hole there is the defense.
I agree with you. I think in order to try to shore that up, and I know Wiggins had a rough year last year, I'd give him another shot and
Give him
start him
another
at my
shot.
2. Because I'd like Buddy
Sure.
Hield and Steph starting in the same backcourt. Yeah, we could put up points in a hurry, but damn, we're getting cooked on the other end.
And to give Wiggins the benefit, like he's dealt with a lot.
Yeah.
I know there was a lot of like things around that
Look at his
personal things where he wasn't, able to play and all that stuff. So that he's the last few years have been rough. But he was an all-star just 3 years ago in 2021 and 2022. A starter, an all-star starter. And he's a guy that, besides last year has been giving you 17 plus a game for his entire career. This past season was his lowest scoring season. So it's like, there's something there. There's
Hmm.
something there. Do you have the patience to give him another year,
I'd
or,
run it
or
back.
are you going to have the opportunity to dump that salary? That's
Like
to
if
be seen. I get what you're saying, and I think if you give him another chance, putting him at the two, that could that could fix everything I just talked about.
yeah,
But are they willing to do that? Is the
if
question.
Utah wants him that bad in a deal, sure. If it makes sense for you, if I can shave off saving one more pick for Mike Dunleavy Jr. here, go for it. Especially if you could
Mm-hmm.
just find another
Right,
possible
sure.
team.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you start Moses Moody instead of Buddy Hield. I don't know who's going to be left or who's going to be available, but the
Mm-hmm.
Warriors' number one priority should be to send Steph out with the best possible chance to compete for championships at this point. At this
I
point, it would be to
agree.
get championship number 5, to pass LeBron, put me in the same rarefied air as a Kobe and a Tim Duncan, right? Those guys have 5 chips. I have 5 chips. I can make my claim for being the best player since the 2010s if I
And
win
all
five
with
chips.
one team, and with
Yes,
one team too. And that's
exactly.
the other thing I was going to say is he had this quote about a week ago, and it was like, talking about winning championships and like
Yep.
Clay leaving, blah blah. He goes, things happen quick. I want to be a Warrior for life, but I'm paraphrasing obviously, but like,
Yeah, I
it's
remember
a
saying
business. Things change quick. That's not really that's not really him saying no matter what happens, I'm staying in Golden State. That's just kind of him, understanding the nature and the business of the
that.
NBA.
Yeah,
Who knows if this front office can't put together a formidable team for Steph to win another championship?
he's gone.
Who says he doesn't leave? I think that could absolutely happen. I'm not saying it's a high percent chance of happening, but it could.
It's not
So
impossible. It's definitely not
not
impossible.
impossible.
I mean, hey,
So
a lot of people thought that Clay was going to be a Warrior for life. So
I'm sure he did too at one
yeah,
point.
we all thought Tony
But
Parker was going to finish his career Spur. He didn't.
there's a few guys: Hakeem,
Yes,
Patrick Ewing. There's a few guys that
we'll be here all day.
yeah,
Talking
yeah
about guys
we
that thought they were probably going to stay in one spot. So
yeah
that's the
yeah
main thing. That's a question that Warriors brass needs to tell themselves. I get that you're attached to one player, but even the Los Angeles Lakers, as much as they love Austin Reeves, said if that an all-star caliber player came available for in a trade offer with Austin Reeves, we'd give him up.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
So if
do what you
they could
gotta do.
do it, a team that honestly we're probably on our doorstep of not even being a playoff team once LeBron retires. We're going to be in and out of playing contention, maybe just like how we are now. So a team like the Warriors they're pretty much in the same exact position, right? An aging super freaking Hall of Famer, first ballot. You know
Yep.
exactly where he's going after his career is over. What are you going to do for him to make sure that he can still compete? Because again, this dude could play another 6 or 7 years and still be great, still
Yeah,
average 25
100%.
plus. So come on, that's all. I
Yeah.
just
They gotta do something to help out Seth because with the roster that they have right now constructed, I'm not saying it's the worst.
they're not making the playoffs.
They're not making the playoffs with this
Not
team.
like that.
They're not going to be bottom of the Western Conference, but they are not going to be competing for Jack.
The Rockets are
Nothing.
coming, like we talked about last episode. The Spurs are getting a lot better, like we talked about. Lakers, Clippers, the Kings will be better. Like there's too many great teams out west with too many great
Pelicans.
players.
Pelicans just got DeJounte.
No
They still
way.
have Ingram at this moment. Yeah, no, I don't think the Warriors compete with any of those teams on paper right now.
Yeah,
Listen, man, you want to give Steph some sort of chance, you got to go out. You got to give up what you got to give up. And if it means you got to give up pods and some picks,
do it.
just do it.
Do
Yeah,
it.
stop wasting time. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Speaking of wasting time, we're going to stop wasting everybody else's time talking about all things here. Any parting shots from you before we get off here?
Uh, check out the Summer League if you haven't been watching yet. I think it's a cool opportunity to check out these rising stars, superstars of the future potentially. And it's basketball. It's basketball in the summer. We're missing it, even though we're just like less than a month removed
Yep.
from the finals, the season ending. But there's some great talent there, so I definitely recommend checking that out.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of piggyback off that for me, man, Reed Shepard is a hooper. And that might
Whoa.
be the
Bro, he
coldest
could have been
American
right now.
Warriors
He could have
basketball.
been the number one pick.
I think so. I
Yeah.
really think, and
Yeah.
that is the coldest
Great
white boy in
pickup
the
for the
league.
Rockets.
That is from America. That is from America. Not coldest white boy as in Luka and the Jokic's, but
Yeah.
hey man, that man can play. The
Yeah, no,
Hawks,
we can.
the Hawks coveted him as their Patrick Mahomes kind of player, and they didn't
How are
take
you
him.
going to compare someone to Pat Mahomes and
And
not
they
take
didn't
him?
take him.
I saw that quote and I was like, I wouldn't have even
No.
that doesn't make any sense to me. You're gonna have Mahomes who's knocking on the door of Tom Brady's door and being like, "Hey, go, I'm here." Are you gonna pass up on him? I don't know. Hey, that's not my business. Good for Houston. They got a good one. So yeah, I'm with you. But yeah, I think that covers everything. If you made it this far, we appreciate you. Appreciate all your support. Please make sure to subscribe if you are here on YouTube. Put in the comments your overall thoughts on the Summer League so far. Your thoughts on Bronny, Pat Bev, Zach Levine, Laurie Markkinen, whatever you want to talk about. Put it in the comments. If you're an audio only listener, make sure to give us a 5-star rating, review, all that good stuff. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Check out our gamified content here on YouTube as well. And until episode 47, peace out.